Welcome to Heart Echo channel, where we explore stories that touch the deepest parts of the human soul. Today, we delve into a tale of love, loss, and a message that traveled beyond time itself. Emily Carter lived in a quiet coastal town in Oregon, a place where the sunsets looked like they were brushed onto the sky by an artist's hand, and where memories clung to you longer than the seasons. For 5 years, her world revolved around Daniel Moore. He was the sun she orbited, the melody to her quiet life. But their love story ended abruptly, a painful breakup he initiated, leaving a wound in her heart that she carried alone. Tragedy struck again months later when Daniel died in a car accident. His sudden death left Emily suspended in a state of unresolved grief. Haunted by one persistent, aching regret, she never got to hear his final words. The silence he left behind was louder than any argument they ever had. One stormy autumn evening, drawn by a force she couldn't name, Emily found herself back at Ravenwood Bridge. This was their spot, the place where their love had first blossomed and where it had ultimately withered. The town lights twinkled like distant, forgotten stars behind her. Below, the river reflected the turbulent sky, its dark waters shimmering. The wind howled, carrying a strange, sorrowful weight. It felt as if the world was mourning with her. Suddenly, her phone vibrated in her coat pocket. The sharp buzz cut through the wind's cry. She pulled it out, her fingers numb from the cold. A notification glowed on the screen. A single new voicemail. Her breath hitched when she saw the sender's name. Daniel. And the timestamp? 7:42 p.m. Tonight. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat of disbelief and fear. How was this possible? Her mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation, but her heart urged her forward. With a trembling thumb, she pressed play. The silence of the bridge was shattered by his voice. It was just as she remembered, yet strained, cracking with an emotion she couldn't quite place. "Emily," he began, his voice a ghost whisper through the speaker. "I know I can't undo the past. I know I hurt you more than anyone ever should." Tears welled in Emily's eyes, hot against her cold cheeks. She clutched the phone tighter, as if it were a lifeline back to him. "But if you hear this, please know," he continued, his voice wavering. "I never stopped loving you. Not for a single second. I just didn't know how to stay. I didn't know how to be the man you deserved." There was a pause, a shaky breath that felt so real, so present. It was as if he were standing right beside her on that bridge. Then, a final, soft whisper, filled with a profound sadness. "I hope you find the peace I couldn't." The message ended. Silence rushed back in, heavier than before. Emily stood frozen, the wind whipping her hair around her face. Her mind was a storm of questions. How could a dead man send a message from the present? Was this a cruel prank? A glitch in the network? Or something else entirely? The logical part of her brain screamed impossibility, but the part of her that still loved him wanted to believe in miracles. The next day, driven by a desperate need for answers, she went to Daniel's mother's house. Her hands were trembling so much she could barely knock on the door. Mrs. Moore opened it, her eyes holding the same deep sorrow that Emily felt in her own heart. She seemed to understand without Emily having to say a word. She led Emily inside, to a living room filled with photos of Daniel, his bright smile. A painful reminder of what was lost. From a mantelpiece, Mrs. Moore took down a small, intricately carved wooden box. Her hand shook as she opened it. "He recorded this for you," she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. "The night of the accident, he was on his way to see you, to try and explain everything. He recorded it in the car, just in case he lost his nerve." She looked at Emily, her gaze full of a mother's pain. "I've had it all this time. I wanted to send it, but I just couldn't. I wasn't ready to let go of his last words. It was a scheduled message, set for tonight. I forgot to cancel it. I'm so sorry if it scared you." And in that moment, the truth washed over Emily, a wave of clarity that was both devastating and liberating. The impossible voicemail wasn't a ghost's call or a technical error. It was a final, loving act from a boy who was lost. Emily broke down, but her sobs weren't just for the pain of the past. They were tears of release. She finally understood. Daniel's last words weren't meant to haunt her, to chain her to a past filled with what-ifs and regrets. They were meant to free her. They were his final gift, his way of giving her the peace he could never find for himself. That evening, Emily returned to Ravenwood Bridge. The storm had passed, and the sky was clear, dotted with brilliant stars. The air was crisp and clean. She stood in the same spot, but this time it felt different. The bridge was no longer a monument to her pain. It was just a bridge. She didn't come to listen for echoes of the past, to strain to hear his voice in the wind. She came to say goodbye. Looking out at the calm, dark water, she finally let the memories go, not with anger or bitterness, but with a quiet, accepting love. Daniel's message hadn't brought him back, but it had given her back to herself. And as she walked away from the bridge, leaving the echoes behind, she felt a profound sense of peace settle over her, light and freeing, like the first breath after a long, long time underwater. Thank you for joining us on Heart Echo Channel. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales that explore the depths of the human heart. We'll see you next time.